Hello, welcome back. My name's Graham Hesketh and I'm a 172 pilot, and here's the 172. I'm going to show you from outside what 172 looks like. One of the great things I enjoy is flying around the world, and I can go anywhere in my Cessna 172. There we go. I am actually in China Lake Naval Air Station in California at the moment. But I'm not going to fly the 172 today because it's too slow. I also fly a twin engine. I got my PPL on a twin P834 Seneca. I can do about 140, 160 knots, but I want to fly something else. I'm going to show you the GR4 Tornado. Okay, so once you become a pilot and you know how to fly an airplane and do all the business, flying a different type of airplane is just a matter of type conversion and getting used to flying it. Now, I've been flying this download of the Tornado GR4 since the 1st of January 2018, which was, to my calculations, about 80, 90 hours ago of flying time. And I've taken it all around the world on my world tour. And here I am today in California. And the thing I like about flying the Tornado GR4 is, it's great fun firing missiles and dropping bombs and things, but that's all playtime, isn't it? I mean, for me, this is PPL flying. And depending on your computer, depending on how fast it is and how good the graphic detail is, I mean, you're there. You may as well go anywhere you want and fly around, because the pleasure for a pilot is flying and looking around and seeing and having a flying experience, which of course will never be as good on a flight simulator as the real thing, for sure. But I would say it comes very close. It's about 90% depending on how fast your computer is. It really is tremendous fun, and there's no way I would ever get my hands on a real Tornado GR4 unless I was a Saudi prince and I could afford to just buy one. It's not going to happen, is it? So just do it, go for it. Come with me. I'm going to the Yosemite National Park today. Okay, so I've got my map up. This is where I am here. And these are the mountains. California, Los Angeles is down here. I'm going to go up the back of these mountains. And you can see on this 330 to 360 there. So I'm going to steer 340 to begin with and just follow the back of these mountains. Okay, 295. Let's go to 340. The other great thing about the GR4, it's got autopilot, so you don't have to fly it the whole time. Okay, we'll let it settle down. I'm going to put it on autopilot now and get the heading bug where I want it, which is there, and then go to heading and altitude. Now the GR4 has another tremendous asset, which is terrain following radar, which means you're never going to crash into a hill. I normally set this to 1500 feet above ground level. That's the knob there, that tells you how high you are. So I'm going to flick that all the way around to 1500 feet because I'm not a fighter pilot and I don't want to turn that off. I don't want to fly along the ground today. Okay, the other thing is we've got altitude here. This is height above sea level, which is 1013, which is giving us in our reading there 3,700 feet. If we flick to radio, that will give us our actual height above the ground, which is what we're interested in at the moment. So we'll stick with that. We're doing 500 knots, which is a bit fast, and this thing uses a lot of fuel. This is our fuel flow gauge. We've got 6 tons of fuel here, so I'm going to reduce our fuel consumption to something like 30 litres a minute per engine. We've got 2 needles there, the 2 separate engines. Imagine that, that's 2 jerry cans, 3 jerry cans a minute that this thing is consuming in fuel, which is a lot. Okay, so we're going to come up the back of these mountains. So in order to steer when we're on autopilot, we just change the heading bug. Let's go to 330. This is all magnetic. Charts are in true north. A bit of lag on this computer now because I've got the screen recorder running as well, so it's not as quick as it normally is when I'm flying it. Obviously, if you've got a better computer than me, which most people have, because I'm poor, but flight simmers, they got some tremendous capacities, and the flying is like so smooth, and graphic details, the more powerful a computer you've got, the more scenery you can have on there. It's like flying the real thing. Some of its photographic realism, it's absolutely awesome. I used to spend £100 an hour to fly a Cessna 172, and you couldn't go very far. You could only go half an hour to come back the other half an hour to get back to where you started, and there wasn't tremendous scenery in Sussex. You could fly up and down the coast of the Isle of Wight. That was about it. But here we are, flying up the backside of the Californian mountains, California and the Pacific Ocean's off to our left. So we're going to fly up the back of these mountains to Yosemite National Park. It really depends what kind of pilot you are, what kind of flying you want to do. Lots of commercial guys out there want to fly commercial airline planes and do all that. So this isn't really something that they'd be interested in. You got wannabe fighter pilots out there. Now this is something that they would be interested in, but from my perspective, I'm just a PPO who wants to pose flying a cool plane and going places and just having the crack. That's me. I mean, everyone's different, aren't we? We're all different. We've all got our own different reasons for flying what we fly. I love this. I absolutely love this aircraft. It's not the newest aircraft out there. It's not the best, but I love it. She's fantastic. She's a heavy bird. She's 27 tons max. So she's not that... What's the word I'm looking for? She's not a ballerina, put it that way. Now, one thing you do have to keep a big eye on with this bird is the fuel consumption. As I say, when you're new to it, you tend to have the throttle jammed open a bit too wide and all your fuel will disappear like that. And when all the fuel is gone, you're helpless, because the control column that goes to the wings and the tail, there's no cables that go there from your control column. It's all fly-by computer input. There's hydraulics and suction and all kinds of clever gadgets going on. And if all the power dies, you're finished. You just got a dead aeroplane in the sky, and all you can do is eject. I mean, there are some emergency things, such as your emergency power system there. But I mean, that will work for a very limited period while you restart your engines, which we'll go through the starting procedures at another time. But basically, do not ever run out of fuel in an aeroplane, especially this one. You cannot dead stick this, okay? And I will take my hat off and salute the man who can. Or the woman who can. Let's not forget the girls. Some of the best pilots in the world are girls. True. Some amazing scenery. I mean, I was in Las Vegas yesterday. Nevada desert is unbelievable. I love it. It's my favourite state so far. I think we're back in California now, but I'm going to go around. I'm going to go everywhere, and I'm going to tick places. I'm going to tick boxes. I'm thinking, I like this. I don't like that. I'm not too keen on this. Ugh, that's horrible. I'm going to do the lot. I'm going everywhere in this aircraft. Okay, I'm going to get 1,000 hours. I'm not interested in downloading an F-16, an F-18, an F-35. I will eventually. When I've finished with this one and I'm bored with it, I'll go and buy another one. This one cost me around $35. What's that? For 1,000 hours of fun. It's nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now you'll notice the top left-hand screen here, we've got 417 knots indicated. We can go faster than that. This is a swing wing aeroplane. You can swing the wings back. I'll show you how. Let's go outside. Now, without altering the throttle settings, that should increase speed, he says, up here. Less drag. But obviously your performance isn't as good with your wings swept right back like that. You're not going to turn as tight. Your stall's going to be a lot higher. All things we'll talk about later. But basically what I want to do, I want to show you all how to fly this aeroplane as best as I understand it. I mean, I'm not a Tornado pilot, but I've got a lot of experience on the simulator and I'm learning. I've got a mate who actually is a fitter at British Aerospace and he fits these aeroplanes, he changes all bits and pieces. I quite often ask him things, so I'm getting feedback from him, and I've got another guy I know who's an ex-instructor who actually flew these things, and he was a big pilot instructor at RAF Valley in Anglesey, so he used to train fighter pilots and I ask him things occasionally. I don't want to take up too much of his time because he's a really important guy, but I get a lot of information back off him, because when I first converted onto this aeroplane to fly it, I had a lot of trouble landing it. Very heavy girl, and it's all down to airspeed. So if you get your airspeed right, depending on how heavy you are, then the landings are easy, and that was a big learning curve for me. And I'll try and pass on as much information as I can to you, because you're either into this aeroplane or you're not. And if you are, then what I've learned I can pass on to you will help you learn a lot faster than I've learned it. That's the aim anyway. Now when I'm flying like this, normally what I'll do is I'll have the wings not fully swept back, but half swept back. Now I've got an indicator down here. This is it. This tells you how far back your wings are. Look, they're all the way back. and sticking straight out, about 25 degrees there. So I'd like to keep it at about 40 degrees. So I'm going to start pushing the wings out again, because I want more stability and more manoeuvrability, which is going to give me more drag, so I'm not going to go as fast. So let's get it back to about 40 degrees. There we are. That's balanced out at 40 degrees now. And we have a moving map with this GPS. Everyone loves GPS. Everybody flies with GPS these days. There we are. Look, there's a VOR beacon there, which we can tune in nav 1 and nav 2. Bishop VOR 109.6. Once we've got that beacon picked up, here we are, VOR 328 degrees. We're at 33 and a bit. Distance 45.8 nautical miles. Estimated time of arrival 5 minutes 52 seconds at this speed. We've also got, apart from the radio altitude and your barometric altitude above sea level, we've got magnetic north and true north. There's obviously, wherever you are in the world, there's a difference between which way your compass points and actual true north. It's called magnetic variation, and it does change wherever you are in the world. And this switch here is tremendous because we can just flip to true north, just like that, and follow the map without worrying about magnetic variation. I'll take photographs as well. You've got the ability to just take a screenshot of whatever angle you're looking at. And wherever I am in the world, I'm just flying along, I think, wow, look at this. I want to take a picture of that, take a picture of that, and put that on Facebook. Some people think I'm sad. I don't care. I'm enjoying myself. I think it's really cool and I love it and I'm doing it, and that's me. That's what I do. Okay, never be without Google Maps. I get Google Maps up on my computer. So while I'm flying along, I'll check where I am. They're the mountains. I took off from down here somewhere and I'm flying up the back of these mountains. There's a big lake at the top, look. Once I get to the lake, I should be at Yosemite National Park. I haven't found the lake yet. Go on to the map data for the GPS, and once we get that VOR, that lake should be there somewhere, he says. This is all what we call VFR navigation, visual flight rules. Everything with flying we can see. All right, we're using beacons as well to help us along our way. We're using GPS. There's no excuse whatsoever for getting lost. And if your visibility closes in, then you've got other things to do. You should never have got to that point, but if you do, you have to think of ways of getting out of that. Now, there's a bit of a lake. Was that the same as Google Maps? No, it's a big round lake I'm looking for. See that one? Can zoom in there. Lee Vining, it's got islands in the middle, look, 3 islands. Okay, get rid of that. So that's not the lake that we're looking for. Now the Tornado is quite an old aeroplane. It was designed in the 1960s, early 70s, before it came into production. It was known as the multi-role combat aircraft, so it wasn't really a master of anything. It was a jack of all trades, and it's still got this horrible configuration where you've got nuts and bolts all around the windscreen and big clumsy G meter there, which blocks a lot of your view. Modern jets today have a complete clear canopy. You can see everything. So this is quite an old plane. You can't move your head to see round the big clumsy G meter like this. and you can go the other way like this, and you can also go up and down, and a configuration of that, which you'd have to have the longest neck in the world to be able to do that. And I know some people out there who have got really long necks. Okay, some of them are not friends of mine. Now, I always wanted to go to the Yosemite National Park. It was like a mecca for base jumpers. I come from a skydiving background, as you know. I've never done a base jump. I'm not going to pretend that I did. I was tempted a few times, and I did come close to it, but I never actually stood on the edge and decided whether to go for it or not. And I'm glad at my age, because I probably would have died. But base jumpers come to Yosemite National Park. It's got one of the most enormous cliffs in the world, where guys just lob off and go into free fall and produce parachutes and float to the bottom of wherever. So I've always wanted to come here. I've never been here before in my life, and this is the first time, and I'm doing it virtually, obviously. So I live in the south of Spain, that's where I am now. But it's amazing the way I can be somewhere in real time and real weather, and I'm here doing it. I'm thinking, wow, I've been there, I remember that. It's amazing. People are getting more and more into virtual reality worlds. You know, when I've got enough money, I want the headset, so I'm like this. Wow, in the cockpit. That's awesome. I'm not sure how I can work the buttons and things, but I'm on the mouse at the moment. Okay, I've got the map back out again. A good pilot should always be looking at his map all the time. Now, I thought that lake would be here somewhere, but it's not. Look, it's there. There's my lake that I'm looking for with the islands. See, just there. That is what I want. That's where I'm going. And looking at this, let's get a close up on here. These VOR. This is how a VOR beacon is denoted on a map, and it's got magnetic headings all around it. So from here to the lake, 30, 310, 320, 330. We're probably looking at 320 from there. I'm not quite heading straight for that beacon. You don't have to head. I mean, when you're learning VOR tracking, you go beacon hopping, which is fine. That's cool. But once you become a bit more advanced, you don't need to do that. Look, there's off to that side there. Look, there's the runway, the approach lights. That's what I was actually heading towards here. But I want to find this lake. That's where I'm going now. So I need to change course. I need to go on to about 320. So let's get rid of the map. Down to our autopilot thing down there. This is our direction. 320. There we go. That will swing round to point to the other airport behind us once we go past it. And I'm looking for a lake with islands, because going back to Google Maps, which is it, so I must be down here. So I'm going up to here, and then I'm at Yosemite National Park, which is where I wanted to go and fly around and look at all the big mountains there. Why not? You can see the airfield up back there behind us, over there. So again, we get our map up. Got a few hills to climb, and we should be there. These rings, by the way, 17-mile rings around my aircraft, and 34 miles, so it's about 40 miles to that lake. That won't take long. That will not take long at 400 knots, okay? And if I press that button there, that's automatic throttle, so that will keep this aircraft at 400 knots, even if it's climbing and descending like this over mountains. Obviously it has to put more power in going uphill and less going downhill, but it'll generally keep it around 400 knots. Whatever speed I was doing when I pressed the button, that's how that works. Okay, that's that lake over there. Coming past it now. And 330 is not really doing it for me. I need to come left a bit to aim for that island. So 320, 300, 310, 320. I think, yeah, 320 would do it, maybe a bit less. So we'll adjust our heading. This is what visual navigation is all about. It's looking at maps, looking out the window, assessing where we are, and changing direction according to what we reckon. It's called guesstimating. It works for me. Guesstimating is my best friend. I'm going to put it there. That's 31, 5. And that's going to take us mountain climbing. I can see a lake. What's that? What's that there? That looks like my destination. Back into the cockpit. It's a lot quieter in the cockpit. Yeah, so that's it. That's the lake. I'm convinced. I'm going to go a bit more left. Go on to 310. 310, as they say in the aviation world. But direction goes from naught to 360, which is the same thing, isn't it? So you can say it however you want. I don't care. But here we are. Yosemite National Park is over there, apparently. Gone to Google Maps. Look at that. What an awesome place. I love this place. I might move to America, actually. I quite fancy it. If I ever do, I want a 1911 Colt 45. And I'm going to keep it on me forever. Because I can. If I become an American, I'm sure it's not very easy with Trump, is it? I don't know. I'm not getting into politics. Stop me right there. Be quiet, you fool. Quick check of my fuel. I'm down to 4.9 tons of fuel now, so I've got loads still. And hopefully this is our lake. And I'll be able to sign off and go check out my mountains and my scenic perspective. Look, there's the island that I was looking for, the lake with the island in the middle. Cool. Turn the autopilot off. Switch to drone mode. I love drone mode. This is where we don't have any things in the way. When I'm flying one of these flight simulators, I get it into my perspective that I'm flying a real aircraft somewhere in the world from a ground station, which is the future of combat aviation for sure. And I treat this as a real aeroplane, and that's how I fly it. Because if I crash it, I'm responsible. It was my mess up. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you fly flight simulators. You have to imagine it's not a game. It's a real aircraft that you're flying remotely from a ground station. And if you can get that into your head and you can see that, then the world, believe me, the world is your oyster. You really can do it, and it won't cost you anything compared to like flying real airplanes. It's time the pilot came out of the cockpit. Technology has moved on. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.